You could say, I love that she announces it now.
I know. Hi, listeners. Welcome to an all new episode of Black Girl Can't Cook. Black Girl Can't Cook on body image, cooking, and self love. You guys, today I am joined by a lovely, lovely female. She is an artist, a musician, a podcaster, an entrepreneur. Please welcome Emily Reed. Emily, but you were going to say something. You're like, before we started, hi, listeners. She was like, but you can call me. What were you going to say?
Oh, what was I gonna say? I
Like, what's
definitely.
yours? Like your last name. And then you were like, but you can. And then I just started.
Oh, I was probably gonna say, but you can call me Emily Ryan Reed if you want also. I was
Oh,
gonna say that. And you know why I've been kind of trying to like live more in that? Because I have this story of when I was younger of my mom like saying to me, I always thought that would just be a nice name for whatever you chose to do. Like I feel like she knew I was going to be some sort of an artist or something. And she used to think like I thought maybe you would be a writer or something. And I thought that would look nice. So I feel like I owe it to her to kind of use it.
Emily, no, wait. Thank you so much for sharing. That's such a beautiful story. And isn't that funny as like women, we go through these one like changes on how our parents name us, but the same, like I go by Brianna, but a lot of times people have just said Brie or this or that. But it was my partner who like just started calling me my full name, Brianna. And I was like, yeah, like I love that. Like that just sounds better. And then what a beautiful homage to your mom. Like, oh yeah, she knew intuitively, yeah, she's gonna be something. And no, I love a name, middle name, last name. So underrated. So not Emily Ryan Reed.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love
That's
that.
Thank you. That's my mom's maiden name, Ryan, and then Reed is my dad.
That is great. I love
So
that. And definitely that should be your stage name.
yeah, I guess I just tried to start using it and it used to feel awkward. And I just started telling myself, why does that feel awkward? It's my name. So I just kind of started like kind of like eating the sour pickle about it. You know how when you start doing something, it feels so cringy and awkward.
So
I just started,
uncomfortable.
yeah, I just started doing that and telling myself, this is my name. And my mother named me this so that I could say that this is my name. And then I kind of got through it. And now I'm just kind of more comfortable saying that.
I love it. And wait, sis, great analogy. Yes, the sour pickle. I mean, my listeners know shadow work, inner child healing, all this deep, complex things. It's fucking sour and it's bitter and it's uncomfortable. But like the more you start saying it, or the more you start looking at your cellulite in the mirror and not filtering, or the more you start saying, oh, I'm smart and intelligent, the more you start doing it, you just believe it. But it's so funny how a lot of those things are, it's just so it's sour. It's like a sour start, but that's so great.
Thank you, girl. I'm so happy to be here, by the way. I couldn't wait to come on your podcast because I just love your presence just on all of your social pages. And I love how intentional you are with your social pages. And you're just really easy to engage with because you're just
Thank
so
you.
genuine. And I met you through another friend of
Shout
ours.
out Danny. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Danielle. So she was a mutual friend, just another friend in the arts, amazing comedian and writer and artist as well. We love her.
We love her.
But yeah, and then you ended up coming to a fitness class that I was coaching during the pandemic, and I met you there and I started following you. So I am so happy to be here. I can't wait to chat about
All
whatever
the
you
things.
want.
Oh my
Yeah, all the
gosh,
things.
Emily, wait, you're so sweet. Wait, what's your sign?
My sign is Pisces.
Water sign. We love my partner's a Pisces and I'm a Scorpio, but I love water sees water. So girl, you already know.
Yeah, if there's anything that I connect to about like astrology or my sign or trying to look at other people's signs, I do talk about water sign, fire sign. Jason is a fire sign and I'm a water sign.
Ooh,
And it's just
love.
I think that made me kind of realize, maybe they really got something there with that. So but isn't it funny how like you ask other people what their sign is, and then if it's not like your sign or like your partner's sign, you're just like, oh, I don't really know what that sign.
Right. I'm like, and then two, isn't it? Why am I trash? It's like, no, I'm not going to take time to learn about Taurus.
No, I can't even memorize other things that I
Other
need.
things.
Yeah, I I need to expend my expend. I need to extend my energy towards
Extend
like other things. So that's just a lot.
Completely. And no, thank you so much for being here. Listeners, we were trying to set it up. I know I was like away for a second, but I'm so happy to have you here. And that is how we met. Oh my God, Emily, you're a fantastic fitness instructor. And I took a class during the pandemic. And again, I just had like loved you and your energy. And like I followed you immediately, donated to the class. And it wasn't until Danny, she's like, oh, but she has a podcast. And she was like, you should get her on. She's a great girl and get Emily on. And I don't know why, like whenever you meet a new friend, I was like hesitant, but later on we just started following and chatting and I'm like, oh no, I can definitely ask this girl. And no, it's so great to be here with you today too. And hey, Emily, tell my listeners about your podcast. We were just chatting before recording, but you have a podcast. And what was that like starting in the pandemic?
So it kind of just was a burst of energy all at once. And that's kind of also something that's just that I do, I guess. I kind of come up with this energy and then I need to do a bunch of things, which sometimes is a curse and sometimes it's a benefit and sometimes it's a challenge,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something that I noticed. So there, at one point during the pandemic, I kind of had, as we all know, we all had a topsy-turvy ass year. So, things changed for everybody. I ended up moving in to my boyfriend's parents' house pretty much the entire year. But we were thankful for having
Yeah.
people that loved us and having a space to be with them. And I felt like my family, who I couldn't be with, was comforted that we were there. So
Together.
that's together, right? And that's upstate New York in Rochester, actually, which I had never really spent too much time in.
Oh, beautiful.
So we ended up going up there and paying rent for a little bit, but somewhere in the middle of the pandemic, I was kind of delusional about how it just wasn't going to like work anymore.
It,
I didn't want to go back there. I think that was also it. I started to feel like I didn't even want to
yeah.
go back to Queens, was where
Mhm.
we live, New York City, Queens. Um, so eventually I kind of like made peace with it. And we stopped paying rent. So we saved a little bit of money. And
That's
then
incredible.
a
Mhm.
family condo actually opened up. So we just kind of had to wait for her to figure out her move. And then we planned to move in. So once I realized we were staying here, I got this huge creative burst of like entrepreneurial energy.
As it happens. Wait, aren't we? Don't you have a little gratitude for the pandemic? One, that's so great that you had your partner, but not only that, you guys had such a safe space. And yeah, as well, like our family members can feel so happy because we'll at least, yeah, we're not two single girls alone in New York fucking city with like the heart of a global pandemic. So that's so great that you had that. And yeah, continue. Oh my goodness.
Yes, absolutely. As horrible as this pandemic was, I feel like people aren't, obviously people aren't grateful for the pandemic, but I feel like it's fair to say that there are people that are grateful for their health and their
Mhm.
opportunity to grow during the time. So I
And
feel like that's
and a
also
good
valid.
yeah, and a burst of entrepreneurial spirit, you said, just
Yeah.
like a creative.
Yeah. And sorry I rambled on about like how we moved and everything, but I feel like you can't really like explain your new endeavor. I feel like I have a lot of new endeavors. Some people's lives didn't change, but I had a lot of new endeavors. And I feel like I just had to kind of like, you have to kind of say what you did about with COVID.
Absolutely. And yes, do not, girl, do not ever feel the need to apologize on this show. But yeah, and ramble. But yeah, absolutely. So many things had happened. And I love that you said that. Listen, like some people's lives did not change, like whatsoever, or little things did. And two, we're not taking away for how devastating and how like awful the pandemic was, but a lot of people had solace and comfort and were able to like build a love like me and my partner did. And it's funny, you left Queens, I moved to Queens, and I got that burst of what you're talking about of entrepreneurial spirit, of just projects and creating and this and that. And what a great downtime we had as creatives, not to be like working the waitress job or nannying job. Like, what a good time just to shut down and be able to tap into that side. Cause I don't know if I ever would have done this. Like, if the world
Yeah.
hadn't shut down, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah. There were a lot of things that I accomplished now that I really sit back and look at it that I probably wouldn't have done. Um, and even just in terms of mental health, I made a lot of strides. And I think that I
Mm.
made a lot of decisions for myself that were smart and that showed me that I got this, And
Mhm.
I was able to really kind of like sit with myself and look at myself in the mirror because it was always something in New York City. It was just like always a different distraction and a different
Of
reason why I
course.
wasn't happy. And then when I moved here, I seemed to actually like, I was like, I should be grateful. And I just, I kind of tackled that, how I needed to. So I do feel it was, yeah, definitely a time of growth. But yeah, so that's when I started the podcast. And I also started teaching the 305 fitness virtually. I'm actually currently trying to get that out in person, since that's kind of a thing that's happening again.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that, because the energy of the class is good virtually, but it's just such a different energy, especially with me. Like personally, I feel like I give a different energy as a mentor in the process, in front of people in person. I've only done it
Absolutely.
once, so
Oh my
otherwise
gosh.
I was doing virtual,
Virtual.
all classes virtual over the pandemic. And I also partnered with a hair care company that I love, that finally fixed a lot of problems with my hair and skin. It was just kind of like I really got to do a lot of self-care, and I chose to challenge myself, and I'm trying to continue to.
Emily, thank you so, so much for sharing. And what a beautiful antidote. Like you chose to challenge yourself. And I can agree. I tell my listeners, like, oh my God, New York City, there's a distraction. Like everyone's in the void. And you're just like, what is it today? What can I avoid? Whatever. But yeah, COVID, it forced me to get really quiet, to look at myself in the mirror and to, yeah, kind of accept those challenges and like come face to face with mental health issues and things. And just trying to see like, oh, I had such a great environment in a place. So how can I make myself better? And how can I just learn to take care of myself? A lot of people didn't have that option. Some people had to work the entire pandemic. Like, what an
Right.
entire like feat to even think about. But I love that you ended on that. A great way to challenge yourself. And now, as like the world kind of creeps, I feel like unstoppable, truly, truly. And that's so great too that your class will be back in person, because I definitely agree with you. I was such a class snob and bar method freak, but being in person and just that touch, or that like in feeling touch with the mentor instructor, it changes everything and you just leave feeling better. Although you are great Zoom, so I'm not like
Thank
knocking you or
you.
anything, but I so get the need that you want to be back, because you positively effectively change like women's lives and how they feel about themselves and their body. So absolutely, like you thrive the best in person and doing that, directly.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's 305 Fitness, and they actually opened up the board, or the opportunity, I should say, for people to get certified over the pandemic as well, virtually. And I said, I have to jump on this, because before that, they're still a super new company,
Mhm.
dance fitness company, and they have homes in Boston, Miami, which is 305 where they
Yeah.
originated, New York City, obviously. And usually you had to go and audition and do like a whole week,
It,
like a workshop.
yeah.
So they said that they had an online cert, um, and basically, excuse me, they said that they had an online cert, that I could do in 2 weeks on Zoom. So I did that. Um, and it's yeah, dance fitness that I learned to teach virtually. I got certified virtually. And it's super inclusive. The moves are easy to follow. And
Mhm.
I feel like the most important thing is just the energy that you create for your class, and just to not take yourself too seriously. All the mixes are curated by DJs that are for 305. It's
So good.
just
Yeah,
really fun.
great music selection, and two, like not like your mom's Zumba class, but also challenging, also fun. I was feeling sexy doing it, but also like sweating, getting a workout,
Yeah.
and I love it. Great music. But it was such a great class, and
Yeah.
oh my God, 305 Fitness. And do they have studios in New York too?
Oh yeah, they have studios in New York. They have a big they have a big home base in New York City, but to be honest, I've never been, because I was always too busy with something, before the pandemic, like
Right.
slowly losing my mind. So I never got around to going. And then, when we had time to sit and look, I decided I want to go for it. So I'm just trying to build that in a new place. I'm trying to build, my skill with podcasting, with guest
Mhm.
podcasting, and with my podcast, which is Bed Batch and Beyond, about the Bachelor franchise, and beyond
Ladies and
meaning,
gentlemen, and about beyond meaning.
yeah, basically just like Bed Batch and Beyond, kind of like a pun on that
Oh,
store,
so cute. Yes.
And then I can't give credit to myself for that. My friend Aubrey, who often co-hosts with me, thought of that. But
Said
so
badly.
yeah, that's my podcast. It's mainly about The Bachelor, but also kind of, whatever conversation we, additionally want to have.
Mhm.
And that's just the beyond part. So I started focusing on that. And I started focusing on just kind of using my social media with more intention and just more
Yeah.
like in a way that serves me, with personal growth and going after marketing opportunities or
Yes.
partnering opportunities or branding, on social
Mhm.
media and getting your face out there,
Because it's
I think
there.
is,
It's there. It is the and too, Emily, especially for women, like the numbers and the stats that I see of like venture capital and how like women or especially even Black women make up like 0.2% or something. But then like, oh, there are these grants and things like listeners, like the money and the marketing and the branding, like you said, is there. You just have to put yourself out there. And I think too, it's about energy and just willing to put yourself out there. Although, like, the first 30 calls will be no, 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 but the 40th one will be yes. But
yes,
absolutely. I love
consistency
consistency and
is
I love your
key.
energy about that. And two, just like one thing after the other, like what can I keep doing to better myself and to grow? Because ultimately, as artists, we want to grow like our business and I think being just fully in our craft and being able to get paid to do what we love. I think, that's just truly
Yeah.
the end game. And it's
I've just
possible.
It is. I love that you said it's out there because I feel like we had the same thought. I used to start saying, like, when everything became virtual, I was thinking, like, oh my God, like, there's so much money on the internet and there's so much to be had.
Monetized, had,
And
yes. Mhm.
yeah, and I started like thinking about it, like I couldn't sleep. And not to say like I'm any sort of expert, but if people can do it, like I could do it, you could do it, you just have to find things that you're passionate about. So I just try to stay close to my heart. And 305 is close to my heart. The hair care company is close to my heart because it actually works. And that's Monat. And then I also have, my singing and my partnership with Jason. We sing together, we gig.
Oh my
Um,
God.
that's something I miss.
Incredible.
That's something I miss from the city. There are plenty of things that I miss from the city. I was in a band. I bartended. I was making quick cash, and
Right. And just go, 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 go. And
yeah,
two,
go. And it all changed. So here I am in a new space, trying to just channel my energies, just however I can, in
however,
whatever way I can.
yeah. And two, Emily, you sound so like clear-minded and so driven and so really like focused. And I love that. It's July, it's New York. And like again, it's just I feel it. That's just the go, 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 go. Oh, COVID didn't happen. Masks are kind of over. Now it's just go, 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 go. But I'm pausing this shit. I'm like, I can be intentional. I can control like as much as I can what's around me, but I can just be patient with myself. And I love what you said too. It's just about finding passion, listeners. Like it is out there. You can make money. The online space, cryptocurrency, like all of this is so mind boggling. Don't even understand it, but it's possible. And two, I think, there's space for all of us, especially like women. A lot of it can be competition or only one of us at the table. Like, fuck that shit. Fuck the table. Like, I can succeed. Oh, and also my friends can succeed. You can
Hmm.
succeed. And like women, we can help each other and be each other's cheerleader. There doesn't need to be a cattiness or bitchiness like that. The other generations fucked it up. Like I feel like we really have a chance to help one another and everyone like get what they deserve and everyone like eat their cake and enjoy too. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
possible.
we have so much technology and so much has evolved. And I feel like, ultimately at the end of the day, it's crazy because the hardest part I feel of, people feeling like they can achieve success and whatever after they go for, I feel like at the end of the day, it really comes down to just being confident in who you are. Like it sounds cheesy, but you would be able to shine in any profession that you choose if you chose to, like, how when in Mario Kart you like go and you get like the stars or like the mushrooms.
Yeah, the mushroom.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you find that golden mushroom,
Mhm.
um, and you have to kind of like grab it up and what was I saying? What the hell was this
Well,
metaphor?
I'm dead. The golden mushroom and like just being yourself. And sometimes,
Oh,
oh, you
right,
would have
right.
better
Okay.
chance if you were the
That's
golden
right.
mushroom.
Yeah, golden mushroom meaning you like going into like, hyper mode, hyper speed and using
Yeah.
who you are to be better at whatever your profession you're doing. And
Hmm.
I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. And just embracing who you are, I feel like is like life's greatest challenge. Like it's really hard.
It is, and they don't tell us, right? I'm still kind of like, where the fuck is even the book on like, I mean, Stevie Nicks didn't write the book on being your 20s and being awful and being a struggling artist and being poor. Like, where, like, it feels like this is a secret that no one tells you about. Like, oh, your 20s and like the changes, especially as women. And it's just a very, it's like a earth shattering time. It just, a lot of changes happen and a lot of self realization, and no one talks about it. It's just a really challenging time, and now like we're coming out of a like kind of recession, global pandemic, and now we have
Yeah.
to, so just
We
a
have to
very,
do it ourselves. It's like, no, we can't just worry. Like, we got to do everything ourselves. Like, if we want things to change, I mean, look in yourself and make a change.
oh, Michael,
I'm
yes.
looking. But really, though, like, I feel like that's truly what it comes
What
down
it
to,
comes
because it
down
was
to.
it was a crazy year, and it's like nobody's gonna like, it's gonna be hard to get people to rally,
Yeah.
and eventually
Yeah.
maybe you can like rally with you for whatever you're feeling passionate about, but it starts with you being passionate about it, and
Yes.
wanting to be better, because this year was crazy, and it still is a little crazier. 2020 was
Yeah.
insane.
Oh my
Like, looking
God.
back on it, it was so nuts.
It's so nuts.
And
I'm like, I kind of get a little PTSD to think of like summer this time last year. Like, I don't,
I know.
I'm like, it's very, it's like still so fresh in the
I know,
sensory. And
but it's
I'm
such a far memory. It's very
right.
weird.
It's so
Yeah.
weird. I
Yeah.
don't even know, but Emily, how
Yeah.
I like to start the podcast. What's your relationship like with your body? And I mean, being out of a global pandemic, how did that kind of change and what did you go through?
Um, so I knew that this was probably going to be the first question you asked. So I thought about it, and actually I hadn't really started thinking about it until you had reached out to me and sent me that email of what you were going to be asking.
Mhm.
But I was thinking, what is it? What is my relationship with my body? And thankfully, I
Mhm.
think because I have benefited from a lot of culture's normalities in terms of what we see um, women, looking like. And,
Yes.
I saw myself a lot. I
Yeah.
saw
Society
myself.
standards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw people that looked like me
Yeah.
pretty often. I grew up in a really small town that was predominantly white. And as I
Mhm.
know, having like some culture shock issues right now is a really small town, as a lot of small towns did this past
Yeah.
year. So, I grew up in a really small town, but luckily, a really liberal environment and a really accepting environment. I was in theater.
Incredible.
But I did all the things where people were accepted, any type of person was accepted. And oh my god, I'm losing train of thought again. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so I was generally accepted my whole life. Like,
Yeah.
I found, like, don't get me wrong, like, school could be hard
Of
sometimes, of
course.
course. It's
Yes.
hard to be a kid. But generally I saw myself at a lot of places on TV and other people. And um, you know, I'm hetero,
Yeah.
generally hetero. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm actually, I have bi tendencies, which I should just say, because that doesn't just mean it's half and half. I generally
Absolutely. And
have.
from what I know, we're all on a spectrum. Like it's like we're all gay. So it's
Yeah,
just where
so
you
I don't know. That's there as well, but like
happy
generally, I'm
pride, y'all.
generally growing up, I was super hetero, and still am
Hmm.
generally geared towards men. Just because I'm in a partnership, even just
Yeah.
becoming a woman.
Uh-huh.
But generally, it's been good. And I was a dancer. I did
Hmm.
lots of things in the arts, but I've always been fairly slender. I'm white.
Yeah.
I'm blonde. So I think I really got lucky in terms of not truly having too many traumas with my body.
Yeah. And
Um,
and that's an incredible space to grow up in because one, that's your truth, but I that's like 80% of women's truth because that was just I don't really know
it's
the
just mine.
history.
I can't say something else. That's just how I, this was
That was your
how
reality.
I progressed. That was my
Absolutely. Yeah,
reality.
exactly. And like you, I grew up in a small town-ish kind of, but I had all white friends and they all kind of looked the same. So it just their perception was different of mine, they could not
Yeah.
be. So it
Hmm.
was never, to me, I never was like ever mad at my friends or this or that society. I just took it out on myself because I just knew I wasn't what was projected and expected. But no hate
Right.
or hurt or whatever to them, because their perception was just different. And that's what it is. We all have just different perceptions growing up.
Yeah, that's so true. And luckily, I feel like just my personality in general and my spirit and my soul is
Mhm.
empath. So
Yes.
I've always
Yes.
wanted to put myself in uh, situations and,
Mhm.
locations and education with different kinds of people. And I like learning about people and talking to
Yeah.
people and helping people and being an ear for people. Sometimes it becomes a
Mhm.
problem. I'm such like I want to help people generally.
Yeah.
So, generally, I mean, I'm rambling again, but I was good with my physical body growing up. I mean, don't get me wrong, you gain pounds here and there. I definitely had some like crying moments when I like
Of
only
course.
wore sweatpants like Mean Girls. Like these are the only
Yeah.
things that fit me right now. Like, yeah, these are the only things that fit me right now. I definitely have,
Mhm.
that period of time. But
Yeah.
generally, I've always had a healthy relationship with fitness, with eating food,
Mhm.
with knowing that my body is going to change. And um,
That's
in
incredible,
in
yeah.
recent years, I've been able to go less hard on myself, which is an improvement. But
Absolutely,
I
yes.
have to say, because it's a part of my body, the only thing that has really ever uh, like I'm gonna use it because I feel like it was trauma,
Yeah.
but my hair was always an issue, like huge issue. But my physical body, like, my
Mhm.
torso down and everything else, like I've been able to really forgive myself for.
Yeah.
But I was a little behind with my hair,
Your
and that's
hair
kind of like a newer journey for me.
absolutely, and Emily, no, thank you so much for sharing and for being open. And two, I've been learning, like, hair oh, girl, don't even get me started. I'm a Black woman, but I've learned by a lot of these interviews, so many of my white girlfriends, oh my God, the journey of hair, and from, like, shaving it all off or then not growing it back or have thinning hair or to have a ball. Like, I did not my ignorance, I did not realize, oh, white women with, like, blonde hair or whatever, they had hair problems. Oh, they had insecurities. Like, my
Right.
ignorance was like, no, because you can't relate because da 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 da. And yeah, I think hair is absolutely part of the body image and the storytelling and the journey that we have with ourselves, because it's a part of our appearance. And as women,
Yeah.
what are we picked apart at? What are we noticed for? And it's our appearance. Hair was such a big thing for me, as well as with body, but I think hair was the majority of it because it was just something that you can't control. Like, it's about genes and how you're born and just a whole other, so it's just so
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, thank you for sharing. And I did not so many of my past listeners who are white women, yes, hair has been a huge thing and just a great evolving journey to like take on.
Yeah, like how you said you were kind of, learning about that for the first
Mhm.
time. Like I said before, I can't say something else. I
Yeah.
can't say that I didn't go, have a really hard
Mhm.
time, giving myself headaches pretty much,
Yeah.
worried about what my hair looked like and what people were saying about it. And I wish
Mhm.
I could tell you that that isn't true, but it is true. And yeah, just like you said, everybody, is connected to their body in such a unique way. And um, as a performer, it's just, as you can probably see, it's really thin. And
Mhm.
I've used the extensions. I've ripped my hair out from extensions. I started losing my
Yeah.
hairline from stress. Like,
Mhm.
I realized that I wasn't giving my hair like I I I was always just like, well, it's only going to get worse. Like, and I was like, this
Yeah.
is bad. Like, I just can't speak to myself in this way. So I've been working on my relationship with it, and um, that's going pretty well.
That's good. That's
I
beautiful,
haven't
and it's
worn
humbling.
extensions. Yeah, it is humbling. I haven't
Mhm. And your hair looks
worn.
beautiful. Yes, it looks
Thank
gorgeous.
you, thank you. Yeah, I
And
haven't worn
and length,
extensions.
late listeners, length. She got length. So I don't know what I'm, but
Yeah,
she's got length. Yeah, and
I
it's
know, just
beautiful.
but it lacks fullness. But I've luckily found a lot of new things that I've been using that have been helping it, and just in general, I'm kind of just like I'm trying to like overcome it for the first time, like actually
Yeah.
putting effort into like accepting it instead of hating myself
Hate.
for it. So as far as your
Say that
question
again.
goes, that you asked me like 10 minutes ago, but my relationship with my body is fairly good up until there.
I love it, Emily. I appreciate you for sharing. And
Sure.
yeah, listeners, whatever journey you're on, I love that you said that's just important. Just try to talk to yourself differently. And like me with my body, like I'd be like, it's only going to get worse. I can only get skinnier. Like, who cares? I'll just keep destroying it, not eating, punishing it. And that's no way, like nothing can grow. Like with
Yeah,
that type of just ideology, just
it's
thinking, just
not good.
low energy. Like you can't put that to yourself. Like, what are you gonna you wouldn't get anything. Or if I was gonna like
No.
water my garden with shit, like nothing's gonna happen. Like it needs to
Yeah.
be with kindness and love. And
Yeah.
coming out of the pandemic and everything, what would you say is like the biggest lesson that your body has taught you?
To listen to it and to take care of it and to start truly trying to preserve it because it's pretty like incredible. Like, I don't know, I guess I just started to think about how lucky I was to have gotten through a whole pandemic alive. And, um, you know,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be upset at my body after like working that hard for me, you know?
Of
And
course. Yes.
I started to think about that, and just honestly being away from people kind of made me realize, like, you know what, I don't even like care. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's just me. Like,
Yeah.
I was just up here with just myself generally, and I
Mhm.
had to challenge myself in a new way to make friendships and accept myself and to try to be successful in this place that is not New York City, but I
Yeah.
like and is different.
Different.
So yeah, I guess coming out of the pandemic, I have a better relationship with it. And
I love that you said
generally,
to preserve. Ooh, go off, sis. Yes. Because I
yeah.
mean, what a great thing. Like,
Yeah, and we're all getting older. I mean, it's true. So I just started to realize, all the things that my body has gotten me through and the ways that I should be grateful for it. And I guess that's all you can really ask for. So I've thought about it more than I ever have.
yeah, absolutely. And I love what you touched on too. That's how I'm feeling. I'm like, bitch, we just came out of a global pandemic. I don't know about you, but like the first like 4, 6 months, I really just thought we were all gonna die. And like this was like, I don't know, the Christian people say it's in the Bible and we're all the four horsemen. I really thought we were, it was the end of days. And so now just having that hindsight, it's like, oh, we made it through a global fucking pandemic. Like when I need to like day to rest or to have some self compassion or to fucking cry, like I give that to myself because my body made it through that year. And I love that you said preserve. Like I want to preserve this. I want to be doing all the things I love now when I'm 40, when I'm 50. And to do
Yeah.
that, it starts with taking care of yourself now, not fucking
Yeah.
waiting, not
Yeah.
making excuses as we're all prone to, but just really just taking care of yourself. And if that just starts with speaking with yourself, then start speaking kind things, you know?
Yeah. It means something. It's worth something. So, luckily, honestly though, I'm also I've surrounded myself with people that are supportive, and even though the
Mm,
circle is small, I know, the kind of people that I want around me, and I've tried to just stop thinking about the people that don't really matter. I mean, that sounds cheesy too, but it's really just true as evolve.
it's
It
so true.
just,
And thank you for saying that too, because it's about like small. I mean, coming out of the pandemic too, and I don't know, listeners, if you can relate, like a lot of friendships and things have dissolved. They've
hmm
dissolved. And so
yeah,
now I'm in that, I'm really just like in a building phase, building my podcast, building my
yeah,
business, building my brand, but even
nothing to
building
lose.
nothing to lose and even building my community. So you saying that little just small anecdote like that, at least, yeah, I just need like one or two good, I need to surround myself with just good people. Hey, if that's one or two girlfriends, I'll take it. I don't need to be, young in New York, 21 or 18 with the eight group of friends and this, that, and
Yeah,
that.
no,
Like
I don't want that anymore. I used to.
I I used to too.
hmm
And that just was not it wasn't it wasn't substantial. And two, it wasn't like authentic.
Yeah,
It wasn't me. And I think now is a great time to just start building those relationships and those communities right
yeah,
now where I'm at. And it's possible. Like you're such a
yep.
great you're expanding me because I feel very kind of just in my turtle shell, like let me wait
Yeah, you gotta,
friends and how am I gonna, but again, like you said, nothing to lose. And like we get to start on page one. And so
yeah,
many people are in the same position too. Like, God,
it's
I can't be the
comforting.
only one who's lost friends and hasn't talked to me. Fuck it. I don't care. Like,
No,
move
yeah.
on and
There is something comforting in the fact that it was like a super unifying experience. I mean, we'll never forget this time in our lives ever. We're always going to remember this. Like, it's just going to be one of those things in our lives that we
What'd
will
you do?
never,
Yeah, during the
ever forget,
ever.
ever. So that was kind of like, it's just kind of like, damn, like when you really think about like the gravity of like everything that happened, like, and just thinking about how you never thought anything like that would happen
What
to your like
happened?
perfect world, and it all
Right.
happened. So yeah, basically um here we
It's
go.
just crazy. It's just
Um
crazy. And we didn't think it would, no, we just didn't think it would happen. So to have that perspective and to come out of it, it's like, I have nothing to lose. I can build new friends, make new friends. And if not, I
I
mean,
trust myself to do it now.
I trust myself because too, those relationships weren't sustainable and they didn't because I mean, COVID, like that was the greatest example. Like COVID, a lot of it of like, well, you learned who your true friends were. Like,
It's the
no
truth though. It
shit,
really
you
did.
did.
Yeah. I
No
really did.
fucking shit. You learned, and too, I think everyone's, defense mechanisms and
Mhm.
boundaries and energy. It was
Yeah.
just such a mind masterfuck that a lot of people's relationships did not sustain. So I know I'm not alone. I know you're not alone. And yeah,
Yeah.
help me like expand that it is possible. Start over.
Yeah.
All like you didn't know anyone, just start there and you just start over.
People were just forced to make so many decisions. People were just like flat out had to make so many decisions. Had to.
Had to.
Everyone
Yeah, had to.
that they didn't plan on making. Like lots of like everything was just like ripped away. Really.
Yeah. And so Emily, what would be one thing that something that your mother has taught you about your body? Or do you have sisters? Um, what
I
was the
don't have a.
thing? You don't have a sister. I
Yeah,
don't have
I
sisters
don't have
either.
sisters. I always wish that I had a sister. I
Me
feel like I would be such a good
too.
sister. Yeah. No, just
Same.
an older brother. But my relationship with my mom in terms of my body was pretty good. She was pretty honest with me about everything. But again, um, I wasn't in a position to need a lot of explaining
Yeah.
of too much because generally, like, I saw myself a lot of places, like I said. But I do remember, I remember getting my period and like her teaching me about that. And, I remember her being pretty gentle about any sort of weight gain. I mean, I feel like
Oh,
10
yeah.
years ago, people weren't talking about weight the way they are now. She would never say anything about my weight now, really. And she didn't ever used to, but she would hear me complain and just want me to not be upset anymore. She
Yeah, of
wasn't like
course.
she wasn't like telling me she wasn't toxic or abusive in any way, shape, or form. She's an
Mhm.
angel on
Oh,
earth.
love.
So she's always been comforting. And I was in dance. I was in and we were always just like getting naked and
Mhm. Of course,
putting
yes.
costumes on and like
Leotard, things,
with the
top.
shower curtains and like
Mhm.
the makeup and the the costumes, the colors, the shoes, the just changing and seeing
Mhm.
other people that looked like me. She was always around for that, and
That's incredible. Mhm.
she was always kind of, we have like that connection in that way to like just all the time we spent doing that. So to be
Yeah.
honest, she has never caused me any way, shape, or form to have trauma about my body. The only thing is she never really was comfortable showing, she was never just like naked in front of me, which I always wonder if I don't think I will not be naked in front of my daughter. I
Yeah,
think that
and two, I think that's like a generational thing because my nana and my great some people, I think it's a generational thing because some are
yeah,
like,
totally.
da, 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 da. And that is just so that's so inspiring and so generous that she was just there, like you said, you identified, you saw yourself, but
Yeah,
any little
it was
thing,
good.
yeah, that she was at least there because too, so many moms like don't just like talk to their daughters, like even for your mom to tell you about your period and stuff, like again, so
Yeah, she
great and
was
so
supportive. She
so
was
supportive.
she
Yeah.
was and still is an amazing mom. And she never judged me, and we're both Pisces. She would never judge me, and she always just loves me no matter what, and would never uh want to hurt me or speak to me in any way that was hurtful to
Yeah.
me. Like she's a really great mom. I'm lucky
Yeah.
in that way.
So lucky. And what like bond to have, Emily, because I really relied on my mom and that bond during COVID and the whole pandemic and like, yeah, literally not being able all the way in Arizona. I could not get on a plane. I was too afraid. We didn't
Yeah.
know.
My mom was in
Um,
Texas. I only really saw my dad a couple times because he's more on the East Coast,
on the
but she
East
lives in
Coast.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I definitely relied on that bond I have with my mom. And that's just, that voice of reassurance, of love and support. And like, no matter what, like just giving me that self-esteem and self-love and self-confidence because yeah, I thought we were all gonna die. Like last year was so challenging and it was so tough. And, everyone's life was ripped away like out of nowhere. So I think it was such a great, I'm happy I had that touchstone as my mother to like just go to need to call
Yeah.
because I
Hmm.
saw a lot of friends and a lot of people just did not have that. And yeah, would have
Yeah. A
just,
lot of people don't have that. A lot of
yeah,
people have not a
yeah.
relationship that is good. So I'm trying to be more grateful. As fresh, like sometimes you get frustrated with your mom. I mean, of course,
Of
but
course. Hey, we are all human, but no, Emily, so many. I'm thinking it's like it's just a huge gratitude, like so thankful because listeners, a lot of people, and if you're listening, and I know all parents aren't good parents and abuse and shit, I get it, but the people that do have those relationships with your parents, or if your parents are simply still alive, I recommend healing that and getting into that because a lot of people don't have it and no one's perfect. No one
right.
is perfect. And last year and just years past, I've seen a lot of friends lose parents. And like, that was just a
Oof,
huge
that
change.
as well.
That
Yeah.
was a huge
Can't
game
imagine.
changer. And that kind of got me to get my shit together, at least with my dad and how to like heal all those daddy issue things because listeners, like no one is here on earth like your parents. And if you have that love and support, then you're already a step ahead. So just nourish it. I would
Reach
recommend
out.
reach
Yeah.
out
Reach
and try to
out.
nourish it and healing and forgiveness.
Yeah. That's where I really just think it's worth it. I mean, I also have learned that in getting older that not all people, it doesn't come as doing something that is hard but is for someone else like isn't always easy for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and it isn't easy for some people to make like it's easier for some people to make certain sacrifices in order to
Mhm.
get what they
Yeah.
think is worth it, and some people just they are just too scared, or they're just not they just can't do it for whatever
Th-
reason, but it's, I mean, you should try
You should
if you
try,
have that.
absolutely. And Emily, what would be like one thing that you love most about your body? You said you grew up a dancer. That is incredible. But what do you love most about your body? And it can totally be in the realms of like body neutrality, which is so like more of not appearance or whatever, but it's more like what your body can do for. But what would you say is the thing that you love the most about your body?
Yeah, I like that you ended up asking me this, because I think when it comes down to it, I do love my body, and when I
Yeah.
look at it, I feel empowered by it, and I'm gentle with it, and generally I talk nice to it. Um, and I do love it. I think in general, sometimes my mental health gets in the way. Like sometimes, drinking is like not a good look for me. Sometimes I have a problem with moderation in that way. So sometimes I harm my body
I
in
can
that way.
relate. Yes.
Yeah. And just, some things I do because there's some, mental health things I'm, also trying to
Absolutely.
tackle as
Yes.
well. But
Mhm.
otherwise, when I look at it in the mirror, yes, I'm grateful for it and what it's gotten me through, even in dance and in life. And I've
Yeah.
always I've always said to my friends, when they were down, you should thank yourself, and thank your body for physically sitting you up in bed today and putting your feet on the ground and like walking you around, like you did that. Your body did that for you, like all day, and every day it does that, and it goes wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go, it follows you. So I try to remind people that. So generally, yeah, I do. I love my body, and I have a partner who treats my body well and respects my body and my choices and my
Amen.
sexuality, and
Mhm.
he encourages everything about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, even like I said before, it's also about who you allow to talk to you and who you allow in your space, because there's a lot
Hello.
of people that will use that as a weapon and try to make you
Uh,
uncomfortable with your body, and you just got to spot it.
And
But I
at
love my
the
body,
end
I do.
note, I love that, Emily. Yes. And two
Yeah.
on that note, too, yes, listeners, it really is, especially coming out of COVID. And I'm so energetic and being careful who's in my space. listeners, and we talk about people will project their shit on you. So just, you need to be very mindful. But I think too, that just comes with having a strong sense of self. Cause I have friends and
Yeah.
people, or even me, who I didn't know myself. So yeah, a cat caller or a girlfriend saying something, I'm going to take it to heart and it's going to mean the world, because simply because I don't know myself. Listeners, there's no truth in that. I don't give a fuck what stranger says. It's really none of my business what anyone thinks of me, truly. But it really starts with just loving yourself and loving what your body can do. I think, Emily, I think that too. I'm like, wait, I just fucking rode a city bike, got a breakfast
Yeah.
sandwich, did that. I did all this. And then sometimes will be like, that felt like a blur, but my body did that. It
Yeah, you
allowed
black out.
that. Yeah, no, you're right. You kind of like black. I'm like, how am I back home?
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're back home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're back home. You're like,
exactly.
wait, what the
My body did that.
it did that. What? But and that's how I end every episode of my podcast. I say, listeners, say thank you to your body. It's the simplest thing, the simplest, easy thing. And I think too, because some people can be uncomfortable in affirmations or naked body talk, whatever, but just a simple just thank you. Like I
Yeah,
finish anything, I'm just like, oh, thank you. We did like
thank
a
you.
simple thank you is a great ground place to start,
Hmm. I
What would you
agree.
say as we wrap up a little? I could really talk to you for hours. You're so candid and
Yeah.
so
Okay.
great.
So you're coming on mine then,
I
because the
am.
beyond. Yeah, we. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yes, we're gonna
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
a thing. Listeners, I'm logging off. I'm gonna binge The Bachelorette and then I'll text you and we'll link up. We'll do
Yes, we can have all the conversations about it.
But what would you say? And I love this question too. What does self-love mean to you? And I know, like, in the culture of wellness and Instagram and like whiteness and white influencers, it's kind of getting bombarded and paraded. And I also know not everyone has access to just free health and wellness
Right.
and
That's true.
self-love. But what would you say that self-love means to you?
Um, Self love means to me, like I was, it pretty much is kind of a wrap up of everything that we've talked about, starting with kind of how I understand that I have, a privilege and a good card dealt to me in terms of my physical appearance, and that in no way is to say that I'm obsessed with myself,
Of course.
like that's not what I'm saying, obviously. And I just I know that, and I know that my relationship is generally really good with myself because of the environments that I've been blessed to
Mm,
have been nurtured and grown in, and the people that have been around me.
mhm.
And if it wasn't for the people that were around me and the environments that I have been in,
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
think that I would be, I don't think that I would, I don't know what my self love would be like.
Would be like, yes.
So I think it comes down to that for me. Well, it is about you, and, talking good to yourself. I mean, that just goes without saying. Like at the end of the day, the only person you have is you. But also, self love to me is, surrounding yourself with people and with environments that make you feel good and happy, and then in turn you'll be able to have self-love because
Holy shit.
yeah.
Emily. Oh my God. One of the best answers I've heard, because and I think it's a famous thing you've probably seen, but it's like, it's a meme, y'all, but it's like, you can't heal in the environment you got sick in. And I don't know how much I believed that to a point, but listeners, it's
Still like it.
absolutely, I feel like it.
Yeah.
It's about your environment. And too, like, Emily, I think too, as much as I could like dig on my upbringing and because it skewed my perception and blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I lead my life with gratitude and thanks. Like, thank God for the environment that I grew up in. Thank God for like the protection and the sense of
Yeah,
love.
and
Oh,
that's on you to know that, you know
that hello, that's on you to know that. And listeners, that's on you to be able to go back and to not even reprogram, but okay, if you didn't have the mother you wanted, wake the fuck up. It's July 2021 and be the mother you need, that your 8-year-old self needed, or that shit that your 26-year-old self needs today. You're allowed to go back and reparent yourself. And it really is all about environment, watch your energy, watch your space, be mindful. And also it's protect your energy. Like
right, trust your instincts.
I kind of had to learn this past year of like, oh, like what a light I am. Although, yes, manic depressive, out there doing it creative, don't care, whatever. I am such a light and array that some people are going to be offended and try to take that. So it is up to me to set those boundaries and just listeners, it's a lot about energy. Like even just when we started to get to know each other and meet each other, like you want that same energy reciprocated. And I think self-love is knowing your self-worth, your self-value, and then you just like attract it in others. You meet people, life just happens. And I really think it starts with just yourself and your environment.
Mm-hmm. Totally. We agree on that, it seems, for sure.
For sure. This is like a little podcast on cooking. I'm doing videos and a cooking blog. Emily, what are you drinking when you're out at the club, at the bar? Are you a cocktail or mocktail if you're sober? What's like your favorite cocktail? What are you drinking?
Yeah, I like cocktails for sure. I definitely like things that are different. Like I like
Yeah.
trying new things that I've never
Mhm.
tried before. But generally I like um gin and vodka I like.
I love a gin.
And then I also like, we actually recently got a soda stream. So we've been trying to
Ooh,
drink from the soda stream. And I think like with the way you make it, it's a little bit better than like diet soda or zero soda.
absolutely, sis. Yeah.
But yeah, like if I'm out, I'll definitely be having like a cocktail, like a margarita.
I'm big on the I've been out twice since like the last week, margarita. And I kind of want to do like a spicy marg because the marg is just so plain
Oh,
now. But like I think and it's getting,
spicy
it's so hot in New York. I'm like, I think a spicy marg. That should be like the vibe and everything.
Oh my God, I would love, I know we've like almost maxed out our time today and our conversation was so great, but I would love to come on again and we can talk food.
Oh, Emma. Yes,
Or
yes,
like maybe we can
yes.
cook or like make a cocktail or
Yes,
something.
absolutely. I need to have you over. No, COVID listeners, COVID is over. Get vaccinated, whatever. But no, I want to do so. I'm really diving into the food world. And again, I just see like a space where I can just get in and kind of expand. So,
That's what you need to
no,
see. Yeah.
yes. And so, no, I will absolutely we'll have you back on. We'll talk food. And two, when
I
we
love
get
your
off,
food polls too.
oh my listeners, follow the IG stories, food polls, food polls, food polls. They're fun. It's like a
They
lot
are
of
fun.
fun. And two,
Yeah.
it's interactive. I love doing that with
Yeah.
the audience and people to build anything, you guys, just be interactive with your audience. Like that's
Yeah. I've never seen that. So I'm like, ooh, would I do? Anyway.
it is so great. But Emily, thank you so, so much for coming on. Where can everyone find you, follow you? Please tell us about your band and then the hair care line. Tell us everything and I'll put it all in the show notes.
Okay, sure. So I basically, link in my bio starts there if you're on Instagram, if that's like your main thing. I know it's mine, but basically the link in my bio is my link tree and it will connect you to everything that I have. My band is at the minute before on Instagram and on Facebook. I also have my 305 classes that go live usually on Wednesdays.
Mhm.
And sometimes I do some pop-ups like Saturday morning, but 305 on Wednesday night virtual. I can do it personal. I could do it for a private, a little group coaching. I do my classes myself. I post them. So just make sure you're following me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all Emily Ryan Reed, like my mama would want.
Yes,
So
Emily
basically,
Ryan
just search
Reid.
that and you'll find me. But yes, also if you need help with hair care, if you hate your hair and you'd like to reevaluate your relationship and come to peace with it, that's why I decided to get involved with Monad as well. And it's actually brought me a ton of joy and a lot of peace. And you know,
Hit her
every
up, you
experience.
guys. They have and
Yeah.
all cruelty free, animal free
Yes.
natural.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's vegan, Leaping Bunny certified. They basically focus on non-harmful ingredients, but they also, have the modern science element and kind of just more innovative ingredients and ingredient combinations that are geared towards more natural, more natural,
Incredible.
more natural product. Yes.
Incredible, incredible. And you said you love it. You're seeing results too. So
I love
absolutely.
it. It was
Listeners, hit her
also
up.
honestly part of my my big creative push. It actually realized that it fit with my life and I was a creative and I could just use it as another outlet to be genuine
Yeah.
because I
Be
am.
genuine and be in your bag, sis. Yes.
Yes. So basically
Yes.
Emily Ryan Reed, you'll find me anywhere and if you see me talking about it, it means I'm passionate about it. So
There you go. Emily, thank you so, so much. Pisces Queen. Bye, you guys. I'll see you next week.
thank you, Brianna. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. Love you. Love
Bye.
you.